Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a massive, highly coordinated federal takedown that recently went down right in Washington, D.C. We're going to look at the raw data, the geography, and the sheer scale of the evidence to try and understand exactly how an operation of this magnitude actually comes together. Let's dive in. 28. That's the number of firearms seized in a single, synchronized operation. Honestly, this number instantly sets the scale of the alleged threat. When we talk about major drug rings, well, we're almost inevitably talking about illegal weapons too. Taking 28 firearms off the board in one single morning, that tells us for sure that this wasn't just some minor neighborhood sweep. It was a heavily resourced interdiction.
And the scope of that sweep? It is literally staggering. 14 defendants arrested, 15 different locations across D.C. and Maryland, all raided simultaneously on a Wednesday morning. It all culminated in a sweeping 21-count federal indictment for conspiring to distribute crack and powder cocaine. But to really understand why this drew such immense federal attention, we have to look at exactly where this was happening.
Section 1. The school zone operation. Let's get right into the location.
So the indictment outlines a really stark contrast. On the one hand, prosecutors allege open-air drug sales, specifically the distribution of hundreds of grams of crack and powder cocaine right out in the open in the 4th Street and Chesapeake Street Southeast Corridor. But the absolutely crucial context here is Henley Elementary School. Prosecutors allege this entire trafficking operation was taking place within 1,000 feet of the school, literally in full view of elementary-age children.
300. Let's zoom in even closer. According to the U.S. Attorney, crack cocaine was allegedly being sold just 300 feet away from the elementary school. To put that into perspective, that is the length of a football field. We are definitely not talking about a secluded underground operation here. This alleged network was functioning essentially on the doorstep of where children in this community go to learn every single day.
All right, moving to Section 2, scale of the seizure. Let's look at the hard evidence.
When investigators finally breached those doors, they uncovered a massive cache. Beyond those 28 firearms we mentioned, the narcotics breakdown is extensive. We're looking at 2.4 kilograms of crack cocaine, a full kilogram of powder cocaine, 29 grams of fentanyl, and 12 pounds of marijuana. The sheer volume and the variety of these illicit materials really crystallize the operational capacity of the network that law enforcement disrupted.
Now, while all 14 individuals faced conspiracy charges tied to those massive amounts of narcotics, there's a distinct detail for one specific defendant. Kivara Green faces an additional charge of unlawful possession of firearms. It's a perfect example of the frequent, really dangerous overlap between large-scale narcotics distribution and the illegal weaponry we saw a moment ago.
Seeing the sheer scale of the drugs, the guns, and the geography, well, it naturally leads to a really big question. How exactly was a network of this size, spread across 15 different locations, effectively dismantled all at once? Pulling this off requires an incredible level of logistical coordination.
Which brings us to Section 3, the interagency takedown, a totally unified front. Executing 15 simultaneous warrants and apprehending 14 individuals in a single morning, that is not a job for one department. It required the combined forces of the FBI, the DEA, the Metropolitan Police Department, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. This represents countless hours of synchronized intelligence gathering, surveillance, and intense tactical planning.
To really grasp the driving force behind this operation, just listen to U.S. Attorney Janine Ferris-Pirro. She stated, "Today, my office took over a dozen drug traffickers off residential streets. These traffickers showed zero regard for the well-being of our community." That is a really powerful statement, outlining an absolute focus on dismantling groups that treat their neighbors, in her words, as exploitable prey.
And the FBI weighed in heavily on the operational logistics. Assistant Director in Charge, Darren B. Cox, explained that this takedown reflects focused investigative work through their Safe Streets and Homeland Security task forces. See, they were targeting a group operating broadly across both Southeast D.C. and neighboring Prince George's County. It just goes to show that crime rings do not respect city limits, which is exactly why these specialized federal task forces exist in the first place.
Then, from the local perspective, MPD Interim Chief Jeffrey W. Carroll stressed the immense value of this collaboration. He noted that we are ensuring that those who endanger our neighborhoods are held accountable. For local police, it's really all about leveraging those massive federal resources to create a tangible impact on their own streets.
Rounding the whole thing out, DEA Special Agent Christopher Gomenis noted that these apprehended individuals are known for their involvement with illegal drugs, firearms, and violent activities. It's a pretty sobering reminder of the complex web of offenses these task forces are designed to unravel, bringing together experts across the board to build one unified case.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question that goes beyond the raw statistics and the indictments. When a multi-agency task force removes 28 guns and 14 alleged traffickers from a school zone, how does it reshape the daily reality of the surrounding community? Just think about the immediate ripple effects for the families, and especially the children walking to Hendley Elementary. Thanks for joining me to break down the anatomy of this takedown. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.